long, long way from the city and the sea, to the land of the scrub and the iron bark tree. Oh, I drive while you down to the street. Yes, it's the end of the station, the end of the dream. They used to get out of here in this hard and cracked old bed. Now the river runs dry, the river runs red.
My name is Tim. I'm your host of the MC for tonight, and I'm also the fella that's going to be talking to different people, as I have throughout the night as well, about the water situation and mental health and things like that. Now, over here tonight, straight off the bat, big round of applause for Huck Richards, the gentleman that played the guitar and gave us the entertainment stage. Huck is one of our ambassadors for the Australian Horizons Foundation. The young lady has been walking around in the black shirt there with a little video camera. Her name is Anita Donlan. She came up with the initiative of BEEFitUP Australia and Let's Get Rural. And she's the one that goes around and organises for us to go out and put on a good night like this tonight for towns and communities like you guys and girls. On top of that tonight, besides being MC and host tonight, I'm an ambassador as well. And here tonight, I don't know if anybody knows this fella beside me, Bear Grylls. I'm going to have a chat with Lloyd Polkinghorne. How are you, Lloyd?
Good, thanks, Tim.
Now, mate, I understand that you went on a little walkabout there not long ago. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Again, we did a 300-kilometre walk. We actually came through the mighty town of Blighty, so I was perfecting my yoga on the Blighty side, which went quite well on the social medias, so that's always good.
Is that why it fell down?
Maybe. Might have a dent in it. But anyway, I did walk 303 kilometres to attempt to raise an awareness of what's happening throughout our regions of southern New South Wales and northern Victoria under the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, and even some of the previous government's decisions and management decisions. It's been having huge impacts on our communities, on our ability to be sustainable as food producers, but they're also destroying the very environment they claim to save. So the river where I am at Barham lost between 5 and 7 metres in the last 8 years of the riverbank. So that's platypus habitats, that's kingfisher habitats. The river there actually used to be the Goulburn. So, you know, Barmer Choke, it's a canal fault. Now, our government doesn't even understand our topography or geography, and yet has done the biggest geographical shift of water since Federation. So they've dried out our floodplain, they're killing our environments, and they're trying to kill our communities the way they're going. And every time we try to actually advocate and to be heard, they try to point us as angry irrigators. Yet the people here who are irrigators often start the land cares or sit on CMA boards, or you know, are the fireys, the school teachers, all the rest of it. They actually care about their land and they care about their communities. And if we keep going down, there's going to be irreparable damage done, not only to the rivers. You know, we've got the Edwards getting eroded, the Murray's getting eroded, the Goulburn's getting eroded, and there'd be hundreds of thousands of hectares of land being dried out. You know, there was a floodplain. There's billabongs and creeks throughout this, and it actually deserves water, and the government has systematically dried it out, which I think is an ecological disaster. I think it'll probably go down as one of the stupidest decisions our government's ever made. But anyway, we are raising awareness. There's lots of good things starting to happen. We've even got national senators talking positively, actually highlighting the issue. So something must be moving, because that hasn't happened before. But anyway, we're going to keep pushing on. We're going to keep raising awareness. And you guys, just by sharing the message, talking to people, I don't want people to get stressed over this stuff, because whether or not anything happens, that's life. All we can do is our bit, take it or leave it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I don't know. I reckon you just got to make the most of it, and if you believe in something, you just got to push on.
Yeah, that mate, you do. you need to keep pushing on. Now, you did walk the 303 kilometres, not 300, and you finished off at the Hume Dam.
Yep.
Was there any water in that then?
Yes, there was, and actually as I went up to Hume it started raining, so I thought that was a bit of an omen.
Was it an omen or telling you to stay away for another day?
No, definitely an omen. I needed a bit of a shower at the end of that day.
Yeah, I know, because you only wore one pair of shoes and one pair of socks for the whole walk. And I know Lauren said you're not putting those in the bloody house when you get back. What did you do with those?
I still got the boots. They're actually still pretty comfy. I think I did about 1,500 k's in them between training and the walk. And yeah, we did have lots of changes of socks. The worst day was actually, just this side of how long, and a bloody thunderstorm came, and in 2 seconds I was wringing wet. I was just unbelievable. My boots were absolutely saturated, wouldn't have time to get in the ute, and I ended up having to, well, there's a bit of a truck stop there after the intersection, we pulled in there, and got rid of the socks, put on a fresh pair of socks, and had to glad wrap the socks so my boots would wet up my socks again. So anyway, that was a long day.
It would have been. Now, you had something special made for the trip. Even though it took Lauren and your girls 4 kilometres an hour crawling in the car, what did you have made for your own enjoyment at the end of each day?
No, that wasn't for me. That was for the people we were talking to. We figured they need somewhere where they were comfortable to have a yap. So we built a bar on like a tandem trailer. Had corrugated iron and all decked out. A couple of boys, Mitch Redfern and a few of his builders, donated their time, and I had a bit of iron laying around, a bit of pine. Got it together and it went on the road. It was actually good because even this side between Barham and Denny we had some big thunderstorms, and the only dry spot was up on the centre bar. All huddled in them, huddled eating dinner. So, but anyway, it was an experience.
Yeah, I bet you wouldn't have had steak cooked that night.
Oh, we ate pretty well actually. We strapped a full-size barbie in there. I had all these old diesel tanks. We had a 600 litre tank off a Freightliner, and we actually put that under the bar so we could run our shower and stuff off. So we didn't live too bad. We slept in swags, and it was all right.
That's all right, because I remember you telling me that once you'd done that, Lauren and the girls didn't want to go home for a real shower.
No, they were pretty keen to get home. 4 k's an hour in a dirty old GQ patrol with no aircon. Yeah. Would have been a long day. I nearly reckon they suffered more than I did on the walk, but anyway.
So I know out of the money you raised for your 303k walk for water,
Yep.
and I know that money has gone forward to help bring these nights as well, last night and tonight, and to give the good ladies and gentlemen and their kids of Blighty and the area a really good night out, fun and laughter and music. What are some of the other things that you think might come out of this for the walk that you've done, and some of the own hassles that you actually went through to build up to that and get through it?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the last 10 years of my life have been pretty eventful. Actually, a little bit even before that. I had 2 major health accidents. I broke my back as an apprentice diesel mechanic. I fell through a roof and broke a vertebra and 6 lateral processes. And I finished my time and decided to go home to the farm. We sort of was 3rd generation on the family farm. We had lots of creeks and the Nema River, and had a bit of a mix. Our strength was in our diversity of cropping, because you never know which commodity's good and you don't know what the season's going to do, so irrigation was always an important part to average out. Anyway, so I went home, I was all keen, and it was sort of the drought, so I ended up going to work for other people. I went contract header driving, went working on a station north of Moolameen, just helping in the shearing shed and moving stock around. And then, water came. 2010 was pretty good with the flood, and we got about 600 acres of rice going, and sort of settled in, got involved with industry groups and Little Ass and all those sorts of things. And then I was shooting on the rice one day, and I had a shotgun that failed, and I ended up with a brain injury. It just took a long time for things to work out what was going on, ended up leaking brain fluid down the throat and all this sort of wonderful things. Damaged my frontal lobe, damaged my pituitary. I put on 50 kilos in 12 months. Anyway, no one could tell me what was going wrong. It took them 4 years to work out that I had no hormones, and I'd had PTSD and depression and anxiety. I developed night terrors. I didn't know fear until they came along. Like, yeah, most horrendous things, so I feel for anyone who experiences those. But anyway, all these things started to teach me something, because, you know, I ended up being 140 kilos. So 140 kilos, people treat you a lot differently than they do when you're, you know, 87 and pretty fit. Anyway, so it was a really interesting experience, because I now truly believe that most of us are like icebergs. You see 10%, but 90% is below the water. Because we all go through a lot of shit, and there's a lot of people suffer in silence. And it's incredibly hard. People become incredibly isolated, and that happens in our communities. And it's a lot harder when you've got all the external pressures and all the shit that goes on. But there is plenty of hope. There is great opportunity. Look at me. I lost everything I thought I was. I thought I was going to be a farmer forever. I thought I was going to be on the family farm. And when I lost that, it ripped my heart out. It took years of grieving and getting, you know, because I thought that's what defined me. I thought that's what I was. But yeah, I learnt that what matters to me more is actually the values I stand for and the things that I do. And so running the newspaper, I get exposed to all these wonderful community groups and volunteers and people who fight for our timber industries, our water, even, you know, Lions and all the ladies from the CWA. I just have a ball at work. Like, you just meet the most fantastic people. And there is hope. Like, there is hope for all of us. One of the best analogies I ever heard about life is an Eastern philosophy one. It's about life being a storm. So you imagine, you know, a big thunderstorm rolling in, wind's picking up, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you can't fight it. It's coming whether you like it or not. But our choice is that, you know, are we going to be the tree or the grass? You imagine a big red gum facing a storm, gets battered around, all the trees get stripped off, all the branches snapped. You come out in the morning, the grass is just as good as the day before. Went through the same storm, just had to bend and weave and get around. So I actually don't find, I'm getting better at not finding this water job stressful. Originally I found it really hard to wind down, really hard to let go, but the water job's the storm. Those bastards are coming anyway. So if I can be creative, make them hurt a bit, well, that's my life, I'm happy. Because it's about the next generation, this is about my kids, it's about your kids, it's about everyone in Australia who needs fresh food. Like, we actually want quality produce. We actually care about carbon and shit, stop importing stuff. Carbon footprints, you know, where they grow it, the chemicals they use, all this stuff shouldn't be rocket science. It actually should be fundamental to how we run our country. But anyway, that's me.
You're sitting in the corner of a pub up in the country. People are going to come and talk to you, and that's a beautiful thing, and that's something that I've loved experiencing over these last couple of years doing these shows. So give it up for Anita, because she makes all these balls roll. Not these ones, but... and Lloyd, and keep supporting your local pub. It's the hub of your town. This is where everything happens, so make sure you get behind everyone like Jace. Give it up for Jace for having us as well. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Put your hands together for Jason Singh.
Yeah.
before I leave you, a big thanks to BEEFitUP Australia for making me come on board and be an ambassador and help spread the word about this great cause. A big thanks to Anita, Tim, Huck, Flemo. I'll be definitely thanking the publican here, Jace. He's a great man, but he's got a horrible footy team. Last but not least, I'd like to thank you all for coming out and supporting us here tonight. Big thanks to Daniel back here. Daniel Eggers on the keys.
And one more time to Jason Singh, that's why we're here, come on.
Alright, so we're going to finish it up and then I'm going to go over there and try and meet you all. Okay, you ready? I saw you moving in slowly, caught it in your eye. When mama says stage, she gives you wondering why. You won't be satisfied till you see the meaning of the mind inside of me. Yeah, it's creeping up slowly. She's taking me over. It's turning me on. With every breath that I take, I roll up my dreams and know that the way.
Not only did we band together and bring out a good night, good laughs, and a good show, we're also bringing out the awareness of mental health in rural sectors and rural communities and rural towns and the farmers. Now, people look at me and think, yeah, I come from a major town, but I actually grew up in a little country town of 200 people called Tungama. We had everything from abattoirs to a train station to a service station to a bank. I left there in 1977, but my dad ended up in a wheelchair. I've been back there a couple of times. Town hasn't grown much, but they've still got one thing that every community needs, like BLIGHTY. They've got a pub. The pub is the hub of any community. It's where anybody can go to have a laugh, a joke, a cry on the shoulder, a chat with a mate they haven't seen for a while. If anybody wants to know what mental health looks like, this is it. Can anybody tell? No, they can't. Everybody in this room might have a mental health problem, depression, anxiety, bipolar. Doesn't matter, you won't be able to tell. 12 years ago, I was diagnosed severe clinical depressive after about number 9 attempt at suicide. Doesn't get any easier. First attempt, I was 10 years old. Last attempt, I thought was just gone. We are strong, we are survivors, we will win. I came up with that 12 years ago for my own kids. If I'd done that, what would I do to them? Our kids are our future. Their kids are the generations to come. Every farmer, every town, every community, every person in Australia needs a farmer. Why is that? The farmers grow the crops that we have, the food that we eat, the meat and everything else that we put on a barbie or a stove, whether you're a vegan or a carnivore. Everybody needs a farmer. Everything in your house, even down to your car, comes from a farmer of some sort. A miner works the land, he's a farmer. Somebody grows the trees for your table, he's a farmer. Somebody that breeds the fish in the water, he's a farmer. Farmers don't just think they grow a crop, they grow cattle or sheep. Every person who works the land in some way or form is a farmer. We don't look after our farmers, we don't give them the water that they need to grow the stuff that we need to survive. We've got nothing. The biggest commodity that we can ever look forward to and grow and nurture and be here for is our kids. And their kids. And their kids on top of that. We don't have those commodities, we've got no future. Everybody needs a future, everybody needs a mate to talk to. Even if you get down there and sit at the bar, a beer, a cordial, a coffee, a glass of water, doesn't matter. Pat them on the back, say, "G'day mate, I'm here for you." Leave it at that. Best thing you could ever do. They'll start to talk. Worst thing you could ever do for a mate that's suffering mental health, "Come on mate, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me." They're going to go out and do something stupid. They're going to ruin a family, they're going to ruin a livelihood.
Nobody wants that. Best thing you'd ever do is say, mate, I'm here for you anytime you want. Leave it at that. They'll talk to you, they'll come around, and they're going to go, mate, thank you very bloody much. I needed that. One of the major days of the year is coming up, and that's tomorrow. A lot of people might not have their mums here anymore, or their sister, daughter or wife, for something that's happened beyond their control through mental health. Mother's Day's tomorrow. Look after your mum, look after your sister, look after your daughters. They're going to be a mum one day. Especially your daughters and your granddaughters, they're going to be a parent one day, they're going to be a mum. We want them around for that? Bloody oath we do. Look after them. Same as when Father's Day comes around. Look after your dad, look after your brother, look after yourself, look after your sons. We want a generation to continue on doing what they can for Australia. Australian farming, Australian small towns, Australian communities. Big or small, doesn't matter. Be here for your kids. Raise your kids right. And they'll look after you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name's Timothy May. I'm a survivor.
All right, Timothy.